All right, so recording.
You can't do that, and then
I can, and I did.
You cannot continue to make a horrible statement like that, and then, no.
I didn't say it was dirty. I just
Oh, sure sounded dirty.
I think you took it dirtier than I said it. Get your hands out of the bowl. The bowl.
I keep stirring it up because
You like to stir the bowl.
I do stir this bowl, baby. We're gonna live drawing next Friday.
Innuendo. It's what's for dinner.
So. What? No, we're going to do a review episode.
Just wait for you to get it out.
Nope.
One day you're going to slam that ring on the counter and that glass is going to shatter. And then Richard's going to be mad.
It'll be fine. I'll blame it on somebody else. Grant, probably.
I'll have it on video. Hi, guys. I'm David.
Hey, I'm Garen.
And we are the Printed Panel Podcast. Today we are talking about the comic books that came out
last week,
July 22nd. And we're going through a quick review of everything. Again, the goal is to get through this in less than 35 minutes.
I have a slightly larger stack than you, but not that bad. Of course, I'm still missing at least one really good book.
It's a weird flex.
Yeah.
I got a slightly larger stack than you.
Stack of comics. Thank you.
We can compare if you want to.
Rude.
All right, so let's talk about the things we have in common in The
Aftershock.
Man Who Effed Up Time.
What a great.
Number 4.
I love that he finally figures out.
I like that he goes and gets Bug Baby. Like that's actually.
Wait, I thought he finally figures out that it's not. He's been set up.
It's
because of the mark on his face.
It's clearly some sort of technology that's allowing the guy that is dating his now girlfriend to pretend to be him. There's no question in my mind.
Yep, exactly what it is.
So, I felt like the way John Layman conceptualized this was what would really happen with Back to the Future.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Back
No,
to
I
the
completely
Future.
get that.
Back to the Future is totally not a realistic movie. It's fantastic. One of my favorites of all time. And when I say Back to the Future, I include 1, 2, and 3 as one film.
Because it's not just one movie anymore. It's not just 3 movies. It's one movie now.
Yeah, it's one giant awesome trilogy. But I feel like John Layman was sitting around going, let's talk about time travel and what would actually happen if this went on. So I thoroughly enjoy the book. And at this point, we have insect people, and he zapped the time cops, and he has a cool robot hand that he can use to shoot things. It's so good.
And if you're not reading this book, this is one that I have many customers at LCS under Nirvana. We've talked. I'm like, have you read this book? And they go, what? I'm like, it's about blank. And they go, oh, I have to try that. And they'll get the first 2, and they're like, where's number 3? And I'm like, so.
Yeah. I need this to be 25 issues, and it's probably not going to be. It's probably going to stop somewhere between 10 and 12.
Yeah.
I expect a second arc.
You think second arc? Okay. Yeah. I'm good with that. I mean, there's so much you potentially could do because it's a time travel book. So we'll see. Now, the preview shot at the end is him in his iron suit killing Lincoln.
That's the cover of the next issue. But
right.
the funny part is bad him strands him back in the Protozoan era.
Exactly.
And he's like, I'm stuck here. There's nothing I can do. Oh, wait. This is the most vulnerable point in time ever.
So he just starts destroying every animal he can find.
He starts kicking, like, the first creature that crawled out of the oceans. And
like, smashing other fish things.
I know you're probably important fish with legs.
Bam, bam, bam.
But...
So then, of course, his other hymns come and get him. Like, oh, no, stop.
What have you done?
So, yeah, pretty awesome.
So good.
I had AWA this week. I had the Resistance number 3. So what's happened...
You absolutely cannot review that.
Why?
You absolutely cannot review that. It didn't drop last week.
I thought it did drop.
It's a book from the week before.
Oh, okay, well,
Objection.
We'll put that aside then, sir. Neither of us talked about Once in Future, though.
Correct.
That just makes me so sad.
We will touch on that issue
when we do number 10.
When we do number 10.
So, AWA Upshot, been a great run. And by the way, Year Zero number 1, going for $30 right now.
The AWA concept works.
It has been fantastic. Essentially what's happened now is these superheroes, these supers are now being accepted as supers. And they're getting business contracts, kind of like the Boys kind of style. They're getting contracts, and they're being given suits and super names. And it is it's a little dull and drab, but at the same time, you can tell that there's something bigger coming. This is only a short run, so there's only 6 issues total. It should be kind of fun to see what happens next. So,
James Tynion the fourth.
it's just James.
Stop. It is not just James.
It's just James.
It
We're
is-
friends
it is
now.
not.
We're calling him James.
It is not. I reject you. No. The day that you actually can call him on the phone and put him on speakerphone on the podcast and be
I'll
like,
get that
"Is it
number.
just James?"
I'll get that number. Don't worry.
Yeah. Good luck. So James Tynion the fourth writes Wind number 2.
Yep.
Please stop hurting my feelings. This is like the sweetest, like most heartfelt thing I think I've ever read.
You can tell it was going to be a YA book. And why they're going straight to graphic novel and not single issues at first, I don't really understand, because this is a serialized book. I can't imagine reading this all at one time, because it'd be rough. It'd be tough to read all at once. Exactly.
And the poor
Exactly.
little boy with the ears don't get to have his boyfriend
Exactly.
that he wants.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
it's
thing.
so- yeah.
So that's my thing. So yeah.
I don't know that I can even pull the plot out of my brain at this point, but
The
basically
Bandaged Man is man.
he's a magical thing that can't be in a kingdom that doesn't have magic, and he's supposed to get smuggled out, and his mom isn't really his mom,
Right.
and his sister isn't really his sister, and his mom has a plan to get him to a place where magical people are okay.
There's a reason she found him by the river.
Right.
There's a bigger thing for him. I'm even suspecting there's going to be a second book for Wind, because he's going to be this huge magical character who I think he can transform into other mystical creatures. You hear about the war where there are so many of these fairies and
Well, I mean, clearly at some point in time, the Bandaged Man's going to have a emotional change, and he's no longer going to want to hunt and kill.
the Bandaged Man is a mutant,
without a doubt.
is some sort of. It's rough. Very good book, though, James. You've done a
Not
fantastic
mutant,
job.
Weird folk.
Weird folk,
Yeah.
exactly. Not mutant. Okay, so
So I sent Garen a text message over Batgirl 47, and I said, "Hey man, did you pick up Batgirl 47?" Just to make sure that he didn't
Of course.
miss the Joker we're tying. And I underestimated my friend, and shouldn't have. But guys, if you didn't pick up Batgirl 47, if you're easily triggered, maybe you shouldn't, because it's essentially basically Joker assaulting Barbara again.
it's kind of Killing Joke Part 2, but I don't think this is the same Joker.
Oh, I think it is.
I don't think it's the same Joker. I think this is one of the 3 Jokers, and I think there's more to the story. I think genuinely what's happening is we're starting to see the other Jokers
He
coming
knew
out.
intimately what happened in that apartment.
Doesn't mean the other Joker didn't tell him.
So there is conversation over and over and over and over and over again of, is Killing Joke canon, and did Joker do the implied thing
Yep.
and sexually assault Barbara Gordon?
Yeah.
I don't think this leaves much room. The connotation of sexual assault may not be there. He could have shot her and then taken compromising photos of her, which is still sexual assault.
But in Suicide Squad, she admits to the rape. So it is canon that she was raped by Joker, because the Suicide Squad, the very first Suicide Squad that ran before the Harley Quinn, she's in it as Oracle. She talks about it. So yes, we know there was rape. We know that she was assaulted.
And basically Joker sneaks into her apartment and is stalking her in the apartment, and deactivates the chip in her spine that lets her walk.
Now she's still Batgirl.
Yeah.
She's not without her powers, and of course he's trying to convince her to be his Robin. She's like, "You be my Robin. We can do this." And she's like, "Why would I ever work for you?" And then she starts laughing at him because he's pathetic. And it's pretty great. She kind of turns the tables on him, and he's like, he gets mad and
Well, as he has won and she's crippled on the roof of her apartment building, she throws something and basically takes him out, and
Right.
they're both laying there really messed up.
And by the way, the reason, and this was, you could have read Batman first or Batgirl first. It didn't really matter because they were all going to connect. He was bragging about how he beat Batman, how he's taken the Batcave, how he's taken all of the secret entrances.
And he wanted Barbara to give him the encryption
So you get in the Batcomputer.
to get into the Batcomputer.
Yeah.
And it's a cipher that no one can break. Barbara's saying, "I can't break it. he said, yeah, but you can give me the keys for it. And she does actually give up the keys of how to get into it.
Yeah.
So he broke her. I mean, it was... Which is why I think it's the same Joker. I think that Joker has a special power over her that's awful.
So, Joker War. This is the beginning.
Batman 95.
This is the heat up. I got you.
I thought this was beautiful, the cardstock variant.
Oh, yeah, that's Mattina. It's just amazing. So,
So did you remember that was Mattina, or did you see that somewhere on the cover, or did you just know?
it's not our turn, right?
It's not our, it's Mattina. I know it's Mattina.
Mattina.
But I'm impressed because I couldn't remember
You
that.
can tell it's Mattina's art versus art germ. Basically
Yeah.
the face. That's usually
Oh,
you can
okay.
tell. So, yeah. Pretty gorgeous.
Batman 95.
Lots going on.
Joker War's on.
Batman is...
We saw the Matches Malone character.
So Matches Malone. No,
Oh, no, wait, that was Detective.
That's Detective.
Yeah.
Where's your detective? Oh, you Batman Beyond first. So Batman, yes, he's been beaten in some ways, but he's still not stupid. He's still extremely intelligent. He still has lots of secrets, and so.
Well, and the biggest thing that is different now versus any other time that people have come after him is he doesn't have Alfred.
Right.
And they've taken away Lucius Fox, but maybe he does.
But Alfred's in it somehow.
Or is that really Alfred?
Either his brain is protecting himself. So it's okay. So Lucius Fox has been captured. He's been tortured. He's given up all the secrets he knows he can give up, and of course one of those is the secret hideouts. So one of those is a special secret hideout he had been saving for when he finally won Gotham.
Yeah, changed the city.
And he gets to it, and of course, who's waiting for him but Punchline. Now, Punchline has also poisoned the air. Of course, he can't
With
tell.
a combination of Joker Venom, or Joker Toxin,
And her
special recipe, and Bane Venom.
Right.
All at one time.
So it's really... And so what's interesting, too, is though...
Not Enigma, Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow's fear was in there too. Fear,
So basically...
fear, toxin, fear.
And so what happens is, as he's experiencing all this stuff, and of course he's inhaling, he sees this new bat suit appear. It's this silvery throwback, but kind of new, futuristic at the same time.
That you literally made fun of in a previews is what it was going to be after issue 101, which is not true.
But it's not really it's not real. It's actually, he's hallucinating, and he's seeing it kind of in a dream hallucination. At the same time, though, Alfred's talking to him, and Alfred's telling him to run.
And there's a bat plane outside the window. And like, Joker could have resurrected Alfred.
Right.
Or Alfred could have the machine protocol from Scott Snyder's run, and there's a new Alfred. The possibility is Alfred's out there. And if Alfred's out there, Joker War is going to be so much more compelling. Or if he's not, and this is him getting screwed with, and he's going to think there's an Alfred show up, it's a Joker. Like, any of that could be really crazy.
So, thank you, James. You have done
No,
fantastic...
stop calling him James. You don't know him. It's disrespectful.
It's not, because he's amazing. So
We've talked to Cullen Bunn, but I don't say Cullen.
yeah, well,
It's disrespectful.
Say Cullen
James
Bunn.
Tynan.
You
the
say,
fourth.
so we just call him James Tynan when we meet him? Not Mr. Tynan, but James Tynan?
I'm not going to walk him and just be like, hi, James. I don't know him.
When we meet him, you'll see. Oh, Karen, I know you, yeah.
No. God. Batman Beyond 45.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I've held on to the Batman Beyond title is two things. Number one, I am hungry for anything related to Joker. And they did a Joker piece, and Harley willed away Joker's body when he was dead.
Right.
But the other piece is the dichotomy of Damian
Oh, yes.
as an adult, who is the head, or was the head of the League of Assassins, rather than taking on Batman's legacy, and Terry McGinnis, who now has taken on Batman's legacy. That changes the entire tone of Batman Beyond the animated series, and every comic up until this point, because Bruce is sad for more reasons than just the world isn't the way he wanted it to be. His son isn't the way he wanted him to be. So...
I don't think we're recording anymore.
No, it's just telling us that the battery is low.
Okay.
Or we're not recording anymore. And I'm gonna
We're
just
not recording anymore.
I'm just going to rip the audio from,
All right, then.
from YouTube.
Sorry, I saw the
So,
thing. I
I'm
looked
glad
to
you
see
saw
how-
the thing.
Looked at to see
So-
how long we've been recording.
Batteries, people. Batteries. Actually, I'm really glad that we had the problem here instead of me having it on another recording that I didn't have audio going.
No. Yeah, exactly.
So, Anyway, it's been a lot of fun watching Terry and Damien's rivalry, but also them learning to work together. Absolutely great thing. And Zero is going to freeze the planet. And also, Ra's al Ghul was in this as a really old dude. It's a flashback to before his death, but really good stuff. So let's talk about Detective Comics number 1024.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the team up with not Two-Face, but Harvey. Harvey's still a little crazy, but he's still Harvey Dent. Mm-hmm. And Batman has essentially he's pulled that bullet out, or not that out completely, but pulled it away so it could actually kind of heal him a little.
He took the scope from Hugo Strange and is like,
"Yeah,
I'm going to operate on you now."
Wait, no, you're not. Yes, I am.
Batman paralyzes Harvey after they down Lincoln March and his owls.
Yeah.
And basically scopes in and takes away the bullet that's forcing the Two-Face to the front, and then
there's really not that much more going on than that.
Harvey says, "Okay, take me to jail because I've done things that are wrong and I need to pay for it." And he's in jail.
He's the jail lawyer.
Yeah, he's advising criminals who shouldn't be in jail on what to do.
Well, no, these are criminals that he prosecuted and put in jail that should be in jail, but he's like, "Listen,
I didn't get that feeling at all.
This would be good for your appeal." I mean, it's like he's not saying he's trying to repair what he may have done wrong, but these are some people that should have been in jail that he put there. I feel like you put me here. It's like, well, I'm not that guy anymore.
Well, except for that was Batman.
That was Matches Malone.
That was Matches Malone. Batman breaks into the jail, puts on the Matches Malone costume,
gives him the bullet.
What's
this? It's a gift.
Gift from a friend. So
great story.
At this point, he's off the board again.
You got Flash first. Never mind.
I'll go.
You got a couple.
Flash 758. Zoom may have done his most.
No, these are the twins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
we talked about that last time.
Well, we talked about they appeared.
Yeah.
Barry Allen goes to the 30th century with Iris.
Right.
Before Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he dies.
Right.
And they spend this idyllic month in the future where she gets pregnant and has children in the 30th century. Barry goes back to current time.
Wait, Barry has twins too?
Barry has twins too. The Tornado Twins are his kids.
So these aren't Jay and Iris.
These are Barry's kids.
These are Barry's kids. Oh,
yeah,
God.
Whose names I can't remember. I know them as the Tornado Twins.
We call them Tweedle and Tweedledee.
You should read this, man. It's really good. So he basically is a deadbeat dad because he never goes back to the future to check on them. But I mean, to be fair, he died.
Right.
And he didn't come back until Final Crisis.
Right, exactly.
So they were the Tornado Twins in the future, and
but he didn't die. He didn't die. That's the thing. He was not dead. He was in the Speed Force. So yes, we see the image of Superman with the costume. It's not really dead. He just vanished into the Speed Force.
If you go back and read Crisis on Infinite Earths, you'll find out that they pulled him from the Speed Force as he's racing to stop Anti-Monitor's device.
Right.
But Barry is fated to go back to that moment and complete the race and die.
Oh.
And if he doesn't, the crisis completes.
So quite literally, he did die.
So
had to die.
Quite literally, he will have been going to die. So.
All right then.
So.
Thank you, comic books being confusing.
Uncle Zoom realizes that Barry's kids are in the future.
Now this is Eobard Thawne.
Yes.
That's Thawne. Okay.
And
not Hunter Zolomon.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I'm calling him Zoom because it's the Legion of Zoom.
The Legion of Zoom, exactly.
And he's actually Reverse Flash.
Right, exactly.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So he has Grodd, he has Trickster, he has Cold, he has Glider, all pulled from different points in the timeline. Mm-hmm. And he pulls
That's a smart way to do it.
The Tornado Twins from the future, and they can keep up with his speed. But the most disturbing thing is Barry loses. The Tornado Twins, who he won't fight,
are his kids,
hurt him. And Zoom is standing over him, and he said, I've tried to be you for so many years, and it never worked, because I'm just not you, but I can be. And he says, if I vibrate at the right frequency, and then he steps into Barry's body, and he ejects Barry from his body into the Speed Force, where he sees Black Racer versions of Jesse Quick and Max Mercury coming at him in the Speed Force.
Now, are they dead? Jesse and I always thought Max Mercury and I thought that they had kind of.
This is why I need you to be
spun
reading
off into something else.
This is why I need you to be reading Flash, my DC continuity expert. I'm having to learn this stuff because I want to understand the depth of what's going on here.
I need to do a little research and figure out what happened to them.
But
at the end of
Thawne
Crisis.
stands up in Barry's body.
So he is Barry.
He's Barry. I just want to know if he's going to go Stuff Iris. I mean, that's immediately where my brain went. So, Flash right now is a wonderful read. If you're not reading Flash, you're missing out on really, really great Rogues Gallery stuff. And I have zero doubt that Zoom will smack the Tornado Twins back to the 30th century, smack the other guys back to where they go, and then go on leading Barry's life for an issue or two.
Being Flash. Yeah.
And he wants to just be Flash.
I feel like someone else did that in a comic book a while back. Who did that? Wait. Something with a spider and Doc Ock. It's weird. Oh, wait.
I wasn't going to call it out. All right. Joker, Harley, Criminal Saturday Secret Files by Cami Garcia.
Yeah.
Hold on. I know you intentionally didn't get it.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy this. I don't know that it adds anything to the Criminal Sanity narrative. However, if you are a big fan of Forensic Files type of stuff, if you're a big fan of Dexter the TV show and comic books, pick this up, you'll enjoy it. I like that I have it in my collection. I went, read, nope. Nope. Okay, I'm done. I don't have a review for you on it. It isn't my thing.
This is why we talked about this last week. I really wasn't all that interested, but I'd say the book that really kind of got me this week too was Last God. This is finally starting to turn and make more sense.
Yeah.
It feels like they've taken Fellowship of the Ring and they've taken all these really good stories and kind of throw another friggin' book.
Except for Red Light, I guess. So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. You may notice that we just cut from me being on camera to me being off camera kind of suddenly. Our audio equipment cut out earlier in the episode, which is no big deal because we can pull the audio file from the video file, but the video camera then cut out, which was a little more frustrating.
Technical difficulties, people.
Technical difficulties. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing that tablet's fine where it's at. I'm going to start bringing the second recorder and just do a double setup. That way we can be sure things are working.
Yeah.
So Last God.
So
tell us more about Last God, sir.
So Last God finally started getting interesting. Would you not agree?
Oh, Last God. Last God's been interesting. It's just also been confusing. And what's happening here is we actually got a lot more of the original companion story. And Tirgalad is just a douche.
Oh yeah, he's almost a rapist to me. He's.
Oh, I think he very much just is a rapist.
Yeah, he's pretty creepy. But I will say that so they get into this castle of this room. This guy who's not supposed to really exist.
The House of Ruroc.
Yeah. And they find his magical creations that has never been recreated anywhere. They take some of them, even though they're told not to.
And Ruroc is the one who we think created the Flowering Dead.
Exactly. The spirits, the Fae, they actually bring them here, hoping to get them discovered because they help the Fae out.
And we meet Hakon for the first time.
Yeah.
And I love him. Like, he is my next D&D character. There's no doubt.
Oh, he's
big,
amazing.
Big guy with two hammers.
I mean, he's a paladin if there ever was one.
He's not a paladin.
He literally won't sleep in the castle because he's like, I'm not. No.
He's the protector of the Fae.
I'll sleep outside.
I guess he could be a green paladin.
He kind of is a green paladin.
So while you talk about the next two books that I don't have,
Three.
Oh God.
Actually, okay. So we'll talk about it in a minute. So
I'm gonna grab batteries, which is what I was gonna do when we noticed the camera was going off.
Canto one shot. Essentially, so little Canto, he has gone back to his group of whatever these beings are called, and he has now rescued all of them. They're all free. They're actually moving on to their new place. And as they're moving along, he and his creature are kind of playing hide and seek, and they hear this help me from this cavern. the red creature falls through, and he has to go rescue the creature. Well, he finds this cavern full of these fairies who have been captured. Their wings clipped, and they're nearly dead. They've been captured for the amusement of this witch. So he, of course, is captured by the witch, and the way they escape is by using the red creature, the wolf-like creature. Well, then what he has to end up doing is rescue thousands of these little fairies. They have to run out. Well, what happens, the way he is captured is he's very strong, he's very proud, he's not afraid. Well, the witch uses that against him and kind of takes him down. So he goes and finds the witch in the forest after they've rescued. He's like, oh, you think you're big and bad now because you've rescued my creatures? And he says, well, yes, that's true, but this time when you want to hurt somebody, I'm not alone. And all of his fellow creatures are there, all of his fellow, whatever they are, dwarves or whatever they are, they've come to help. So the witch is now kind of destined to be taken down. This is a good story. This is a good one shot. I'm hoping that they include this in the beginning of the graphic novel for volume 2. I've also got Chu, number 1. This is Tony Chu's sister. She is absolutely a thief where he's a cop. And there
is it a heist book?
It is a heist book.
I like heist books.
So it's funny because he's a symbiopath, and she actually can kind of tell the future a little bit. So they're going to go take they're mobsters. They're going to take their mobster down. Well, they're prepared this amazing meal. Well, one of those things is beets, and she and her partner eat beet salad. And you know what's the only thing that Tony can't?
Beets give him no impression of anything that's happened to it.
So if you eat beets and you've done something bad, he can't tell what's happening. So the other mobsters in the crew that are helping, they all get taken down by food poisoning, and they wind up getting killed. Or she and her lover, friend, whatever, are basically protected. And so at the end, she's going to a family reunion with all the Chus, and Tony's there. She's like, "Hey, Tony." He glares at her. What's going on? So it's pretty good. It's a good beginning. Let's start with the weirdest book in all of comic books right now. I don't know, this might be the weirdest book. It's pretty close. This one finally made sense. There's none of that early beginning stuff where they're telling a backstory. Literally what they're saying, what's happening is the woman who has rescued the kid finally tells her what's really going on. They go to her convent, basically. And it's only women are allowed. And what she does is she trains women to be assassins. Some already are assassins. Some are sort of assassins. And they're all different types of alien creatures. They're not all human. There's one who's killed like 300,000 or 400,000 people in different ways by poisoning. I mean,
just one kill, not assassin enough.
Pretty much, yeah. And of course, the girl is not an assassin at all.
Right.
So the character they have, who's basically just going to start training them, she's like, "Not anything. What is wrong with you? Why can't we?" It's like, "Listen." And the woman stands up. It's like, "I'll hurt you." Fine. She's your problem. This was pretty good. This finally made sense. Okay. Anyway, so story's looking good.
You can't give me 2 issues of garbage. And
I
then
will continue reading it. Go.
I'm so sorry that you didn't get a copy of
Me
this.
too, because very.
So we found out last issue that I forget, all their names are hard for me. I can remember Chuck. Mm-hmm. I can remember Ash. Mm-hmm. I can remember one guy's a Grief Knight. One serves the gods. Molly is the one who is the cyberpunk.
Yep.
So Molly finds her daughter, or maybe her daughter's name is Molly.
The daughter is when we see at the very end of the last one.
And she's undead.
Right.
Fallen.
She's a fallen.
So the fallen are people.
This is the daughter she had while she was there.
No. I thought so too. She has a daughter in the real world.
This is her real world daughter?
And when she left the real world, her daughter was... And so her being fallen in the story means that at some point in time, her older daughter ends up in the die world and dies there and becomes fallen. But now she's come across her. So Molly goes, all right, well, if that's what it is, and she uses her AI to command her to kill her, and if she kills a real person, she'll come back to life. and they can escape. Now, to me, that forecasted the end of the story, which is at some point in time.
This is the end of the story arc.
Is it?
Of this arc, I believe so, yeah.
Well, the reveal at the end is interesting.
Should be 6 through 12.
So,
yeah, or 7
interesting.
through 12. Yeah.
So, Chuck stops her. That's not the answer. Maybe feed Ash to her.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're good with that.
We're at war with him anyway. So, Hungria is at war with Eternal Prussia and over the destruction of Glasstown. And so they send in Little England, which is basically the Hobbit town, which I love,
right.
Sends an ambassador that basically is like a Cthulhu Muppet. And it has no anima of its own, so the dictator's voice doesn't work on it. So they try to stop war. War doesn't work, or that negotiation doesn't work. So Ash's son, who is her son, who she had in this world, and who has never existed in the real world, goes to the front and starts fighting at the front to get his mother to relent on sitting the throne. So things go bad, and she's talking to Zamora. If she sends Zamora to the front, things could go bad there, and she'll lose her power. She also can't use her power on anyone else, or it releases him, and then he would eat her because he's a vampire and a douche. So the fun part about that is she realizes that the strings are being pulled against her, and they're being pulled against her by a real person. So she goes down to Charlotte Bronte, who is in the dungeon with Saul. Saul's like, "You're here to talk to me again?" Ha ha ha. Shut up, bitch. And walks over to Charlotte and says, "Charlotte, I've realized that the strings are being pulled against me, and clearly it's a real opponent that's doing it. Can we set a meeting? We'll see what we can do." And so she pulls some things. And at the end, you find out that it's Herbert George Wells. H.G. frickin' Wells is their adversary. It's awesome. If you are a literary nerd,
this is the thing.
This is the comic book for you.
I would say also Once and Future is also that.
That's more of a, if you are a fantasy nerd. So, go with your Daredevil.
Daredevil, number 21. So in the previous few issues, there's been the battle in Hell's Kitchen. He's standing back to back with Fisk. So the Kingpin is not the Kingpin anymore; he's the mayor. And basically, they wound up taking down Owsley and all these other characters, right? So he of course gives himself up at the end of the last issue. Well, of course that can't go that way. Foggy comes in and steps in and says, No, you can't do that. You can't give yourself up like that, because then all these other things would happen. So they agree to let him turn himself in as Daredevil, because the way the Registration Act is, if you are a cape, if you are a super, you're that person. You're not anybody else. You're not what's underneath. You are that person. And he goes to they go to the district attorney says, "Listen, I don't know who you are, so I'm not going to do this." And he takes his mask off, and of course, immediately gets smacked in the face because the district attorney had actually hired Murdoch to do work for him. He's like, "I trusted you." He said, "I can't let anybody know who you really are, because all these hundreds of cases that we've won will completely go out the window." And of course, then they arrest Daredevil. So before that happens, as he's turning back into Daredevil, he's putting a full costume on. Spider-Man comes to him again and says, "I warned you. Put that costume back on. I'm going to take you down." He says, "Listen, you get as many deaths under your belt as I do. You have no right to judge me." And of course, Spider-Man basically is like, "We're not done here," and he leaves. It's actually really interesting. So I can't tell if that's Peter or not, though. I don't know that Peter would have gone to him and said, "You can't do this." It's an interesting. I don't know that would have happened.
That would be the way I would start reading Amazing Spider-Man again, as if Zdarsky started writing it.
God, I want that to come back.
All right, so Empire number 2. Yep. I'm going to spoil the entire issue right here and now. Here's my total review. Because of Captain Marvel saving a bunch of Kree lives, Tarnath the Purifier, I got that right, go me,
yep.
gives Kar-El,
Yeah.
Kar-El,
Yeah.
Danvers, Ronan the Accuser's hammer, and makes her an accuser. So now she has been charged to protect her people, the Kree. And I like it, she's giving her the oath, she's like, and Earth. And Earth. And protect both her people. Was there any other major moment in there I'm missing? Because that's kind of the big thing.
That's a big thing.
Her having Ronan the Accuser's hammer.
Well, I mean, so the Katati have captured the Avengers on... One thing I don't... Where's the kid? Where's the Star
I don't know
Brand? Where's the kid? Where's the Star Brand? Tony had the little kid on the papoose.
I was like, She-Hulk?
No, she's...
Scarlet Witch?
Where's Brandy? Where's Brandy?
Just the hand motion you gave.
Remember they're calling
Does
her
the
Brandy?
baby have jubblies? Like,
So one thing we don't know is, like, at the end of Avengers, which clearly doesn't coincide with this, or still slightly off, they were trying to capture Brandy. Where's Brandy? We don't know yet. We'll find out.
Well, and Carol's not there, and that's one of the things Marvel does that I don't like.
My favorite thing was, though, is the Katati, they're like, oh, we got you, and Thor's like, what's that whistling noise? That's me. Bing! Bush!
That's the sound of my open hand.
That's exactly right. So, yeah. This was unnecessary.
No, it wasn't. It was really good. Empire Avengers #1. If you liked West Coast Avengers in like the late 80s, early 90s, you will love Empire the Avengers. Black Knight.
Okay, they did go to Savage Land, which is pretty great.
They
That's
did.
true. They did go to Savage Land. Where for
It was your Agents of Wakanda assholes.
I love those guys. But
Right, so what is this?
But the first time we've seen Wanda in how long? It's been years since we've seen Wanda, and she's in this. That was my takeaway.
You turn around and see her immediately again.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
That's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
That's
It's
because it's Lords of Empire.
God, it's still an Empire tie-in.
No, it's not.
I'm not going to talk about it.
We are going to talk about it because it's really good.
I missed Hellions this week too.
Did you miss
Mother blessed.
X-Men?
Yeah, missed it entirely.
So
I've got 3 books this week that I missed heavy.
Empire X-Men #1 of 4
Yeah.
is all about Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch feels really, really guilty about basically murdering 6 million mutants on Genosha.
But did she murder them?
No more mutants. Yes, she did. They're dead.
All those mutants that were there.
Gone.
Wow.
So she goes to Doctor Strange, and
Didn't
Doctor
she bring them all
Strange.
back, though? Okay. Never mind.
Doctor Strange is like, "Hey, you should leave this alone. Nothing good will come of pursuing this magically. Like, stop it.
Don't do it.
No.
I made a mistake. I resurrected Vegas. It was a bad idea. Don't do it.
So what does Wanda do? She goes and makes a bunch of deals, and she tries to resurrect everybody on Genosha, and it doesn't work. Only it kind of does. And you find that out when it's the best thing ever. And I love Hickman and Howard for writing this. You find that out when the Katati, who are plants, arrive on Genosha and start sitting up, and they capture a mutant. Only he's zombified. She resurrected them all as zombies. And I forget the guy's name. He explodes like a living bomb or some nonsense, and the mutant that could explode. I'm exploded. It's exploded.
No, you mean, what's the guy who destroyed in Stanford? The guy who killed everybody in Stanford.
Yeah.
He's not dead though. I thought he was. Okay. Well, never mind. Okay.
So
He was
there.
Penance. He was Penance.
So, well now.
No, Speedball was Penance. Never mind.
Yeah. You're
Never mind.
screwing this all up.
I'm sorry. Anyway.
So the Kotati have him, and they've got him all, and he's like, watch this. But before he blows up, he says, there were 6 million of us on this island, and about 2 million of us were vegetarians. And the whole horde of them come and start eating the Kotati. And then Penance and Magic and Archangel come to the island, and they find Plants versus Zombies. I'm not kidding. It's so ridiculous. It's wonderful. It genuinely made me laugh. And so the setup for the next 3 issues is Plants versus Zombies versus Mutants. And
that's pretty awesome. Okay.
That's so great. So next on your list should be Hellions number 2.
I apologize for not doing some of the most important books right now because New Mutants don't have that. They don't have Die. They don't have Hellions.
Hellions was on your top list, man.
Oh yeah. The problem is unfortunately when we get shorted, sometimes I'm the last because I work here.
Right.
The subscribers are more important, so that's the truth. That's what happens. That's what happened with Die. That's what happened with apparently New Mutants and Hellions as well. So sorry guys.
And Empire X-Men number 1 that you should have read.
Yeah.
So Hellions number 2, really, really, really fun read. They wade into the pits, the breeding pits of Sinister underneath the orphanage, and
the ones he hasn't even been able to get back into.
Right, and the kind of chromosomally incorrect versions of the Marauders are there. And of course, I forget his name, the guy with the guns, but he is seeing his teammates for the first time in a long time.
Right.
And so, as he's seeing his teammates, he doesn't want to kill them, but like Arclight and the rest of them come at him.
Right, he has to. Yeah.
And they have to put them down. And you see the death of a couple of the team, and then Quannon's hurt, and the rest of the team is down. They screw Nanny up, and Nanny starts trying to nanny the guy with the guns instead of Adam or whatever his name is.
Right.
And so as Quannon's hurt, and she's realizing she's going to have to take out the Marauders by herself, the original Marauders by herself.
Right, the original Marauders, yeah.
She realizes Wild Child is growling in the background. He's like, "You're hurt, and you're the Alpha." And then he just jumps out and is attacking her, which is why you get that cover art. Now we can do this. Lords of Empire Emperor Hulkling number 1.
It gives us the backstory.
It's an origin story for Hulkling,
Yeah,
which
origin
I
story.
didn't know.
Origin story for Hulkling and for Hulkling becoming the Emperor.
And also for the fact that why Wiccan's not obviously with him.
Right. Yeah, because that's one thing I'm kind of confused with. Where's Wiccan?
Why is
kind of
Wiccan
like the wig, not the
sitting sprawling on the steps underneath?
I think Wiccan is going to play a part in this Empire series at some point because I think.
Well, when they go to betray Teddy, as will inevitably happen.
And Teddy's not stupid; he knows what's coming.
Though him punching Super Skrull in the face was amazing.
That was fantastic. So this was a good story, and I really like the love story between the two guys.
There should have been an A too.
Okay, fine.
You
so
can't alphabetize.
it's S for Spider-Man. Anyway,
It's A for Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's good. Let's talk about New Mutants since I didn't get it.
New Mutants number 11. For the last couple of issues, they've been stuck in this dream warping reality by this Russian Serenian mutant.
Yeah.
And
who has no control over it. She
Wild Child is losing. He was there because he can also affect dreams.
Right.
So Armor had dropped her armor because the dream showed her versions of her parents,
right.
And she's lost in the nightmarescape as well. Mondo basically brings her armor back up around himself, saves Wild Child. Wild Child disrupts the dream. Meanwhile, Boom Boom's outside, completely mistranslating everything to the army, and so this guy's like, "Tell them to stand down," and Boom Boom's like, "I think, Danny, he said your mother is a whore." Basically, I mean that's not exactly what it is.
That sounds like what we would do, though. Yeah, yeah.
So Ed Brisson's a genius writer. And so Wild Child disrupts the dream reality. Everybody is released from there. And then the military decides they're going to kill everybody there while recording all of this on video. And right as all that's going bad and there's no way they can get away and everybody's too tired and everybody's too beat up, Illyana shows up and saves everybody.
Of course, because...
And teleports them back to Krakoa.
Because that's what she does.
And then she starts talking with somebody, I think Boom Boom, although I might be wrong about that, about this website that is doxing mutants, exposing their information, and that's actually how she knew to come rescue them, is she's following this website. And so the next thing they're going to do is take down this website that's doxing and putting the mutants up there.
I'm good with that.
I like New Mutants right now because New Mutants is the closest book to the original reason that Stan Lee put together the X-Men, which was to fight discrimination everywhere.
Yep.
And it is about the discrimination of human and mutant.
Technically, it's what they all do, but you're right.
But New Mutants is showcasing it most clearly.
So, let's talk about Amazing Spider-Man. This actually is a prelude to Sin's Rising. It is, if you remember the Sin Eater storyline with Jean DeWolf and how she's killed by the Sin Eater, essentially it's a, if you've never read that before, this is bringing you, or if you hit it, bringing you back up to speed. The Sin Eater is reappearing, but it's they released the guy who was a Sin Eater from prison. He's going to do the same thing all over again. That's essentially what we see. So, yeah, there you go.
Talk about Wolverine number 3.
Oh, wow. So, Wolverine, it's been fantastic. He's been mind controlled by this white witch, or the pale witch, is that what they call her? Yeah.
Yeah, the pale woman.
Pale woman. He's been mind controlled by her. So, at the very beginning, you see him at the Oblivion bar getting drunk with Magneto. And he keeps getting, and Blob is not keeping up. Blob keeps he's like, I can't get both of you guys. So essentially, he gets Magneto super
Blob's
drunk.
the bartender. She's not drinking with them.
No, Blob's the bartender. Bob could drink him under the table.
Magneto's like,
you guys,
it's nice to catch up with an ally, or dare I say it, friends. And then
bam!
he's out.
And of course, then he steals the helmet.
And then he snicks out his claws. And he's like, Bob,
he's like, I didn't see
you didn't see anything.
So then they decide they're going to go after this pale woman, and so that's what they do. You
missed the Quentin Quire piece.
Well, okay, so he goes to Inquire and he says, all right, you need your help. Quentin's like, no, I'm not helping you. No.
He flatters him. He's like, you're an Omega mutant, and you're stronger than Jean, and you could help, and that doesn't work. And then
he pulls out the Cuckoos, and the Cuckoo's like, oh, you're gonna do this? You're Omega? Oh, but what if she's more powerful? She's not more powerful than me. So of course,
they flirt with him.
Quire, and
then Emma, or not Emma. What's
one of the Cuckoos?
Celeste.
She at the end she says, "All right, Wolverine, we did you a favor. Now bring us Cable."
Hook us up with Cable.
It's like,
we want Cable.
So of course they go on this boat that now has been captured by the pale woman, and it appears that she has kind of captured Wolverine again. She hadn't. She captured essentially a vision that
Quentin
Quire had.
It was Quentin.
Omega Man is what they call it, or
no.
What is he? What is his?
Kid Omega.
Kid Omega. Sorry. Anyway, that essentially is what they've done. Is they trick her into bringing him in, and of course they do their X-Men thing. They come together and start blasting people.
Wolverine with the Magneto helmet on.
Which was
You're not getting
awesome.
in my head.
God, that was epic. It's one of those scenes you're like, I kind of want that action figure now.
So they take down the Pell Lady, the Pell Lady's operation. They take down the Russians,
yep.
And they get the cure for the CIA agent's daughter, and then Wolverine's being all surly in the guy's backyard, and the guy's like, "Look, you've done some bad stuff, but you also saved that little girl's life," and Wolverine's getting called in front of the Quiet Council for stealing Magneto's helmet.
We need you to appear right away. Did you go rogue and steal a helmet?
I think I will go out to pizza with you. And it ends on kind of a sweet note. Really, really well written. I love Benjamin Percy. So, X-Men Fantastic Four number 4.
Did exactly what we said it was going to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, wrapped it up exactly what we said. Essentially, Doom was playing his own game. He was manipulating him for his own purposes. Yes, he was trying to cure him, but he was also trying to manipulate him for his own purposes.
Love Valeria.
God, I mean, she's so smart. So basically, what he had done was he had taken his mutants that he had on his island and essentially wrapped them up in Doom armor.
And mind controlled
them. And so when they figured out, Sue kind of strips the armor off. They're able to take these kids and take them back to Krakow where they need to go. And what's interesting is 2 things that happen in this book that are very interesting. Valeria calls Uncle Doom and she says, "Hey, so I noticed that device."
As you were trying to help Franklin,
yeah.
You were also ciphering off a portion of his power for yourself.
And he's like, "What? I would never." And she's like, "Yeah, okay, Uncle Doomy," and hangs up. The other thing is, this is very interesting. So Xavier and Magneto show up. And they go to talk to Reed. They're like, "Hey, so about that device you made." It's like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have done that." He says, "Well, it's really neat. You're decided you're going to cover up people's. You're trying to help mutants, but at the same time, you're hurting them." So they take the device, and of course, he's like, "Wait, What are you doing to me? You're in my head, aren't you? Oh, yes, I am. Absolutely. I have taken away your memory of how you created the machine. Not that you created it. I want you to remember that. But I'm not going to let you recreate this machine. They destroy the machine in front of you.
And normally, I would have erased your memory of me doing this, but I want you to know.
I want you to remember, you can't do this. So they did a little more than I expected. It's still pretty good. Now, of course,
Xavier is almost evil. Xavier is one step off.
but this is self-protection, which is pretty good. I did like all the product here. This was good. I kind of wanted more crossover, but Kitty really performed well. This is why I don't understand where this is in the timeline, because Kitty's not here. Kate. So, talk a little bit about Hollow from Source Point Press. Pretty good book. This is basically Sleepy Hollow, but with a twist. Ichabod Crane is in it, but Ichabod Crane is working essentially for the devil. He's gone to this town basically to corrupt the women that are there. He somehow mind controls them and all having sex with him, except for one who just has basically kind of stayed away from him. And he's essentially, this dark spirit is corrupting. So it's pretty good. This is a mature rated book, so please don't let your kids get into it, because it's definitely mature rated.
Yeah.
Definitely there. But that's it for me, since I missed several books this week that I need to go back and pick up on.
It would have been an hour if you'd got all your books.
I think it might be an hour, actually.
All right, guys, like the show, share the show. You may notice that there are not covers in our reviews episode, but if you want to see the cover art for what's coming out next week, please watch our previews episode or Comic Books on a Budget.
We're having fun with that. Thanks, guys.
Okay, love you, bye.